Hi guys, the Collation Officer of Rivers State who was in charge of 2023 presidential election. Collection result has come out to cry out how his life has been in danger after the presidential election. But the truth of the matter is that what are they hiding when the result itself shows that the Labour Party won in Rivers State in a very big match, but they manipulated the result and called something different for us. Guys, the Collection Officer said, "My life is in danger." Watch this video and hear it from the horse's mouth, and don't forget to share your thought with us.
The 28th of February 2023, results of the presidential election in Rivers State could not be announced because the state collation officer, Professor Charles Adias, alleged threats to his life. Eventually, the results were announced at the Collation Center in Abuja. But what actually happened? We are in the office of Professor Charles Adias, the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University, Otuake. Sir, what was your experience? Tell us exactly who threatened you.
Well, my name again is Professor Charles Adias, the Vice Chancellor of Federal University, Otuake, Bayelsa State. I was appointed as the State Collation Officer for the presidential election in Rivers State. I was threatened, and I've been threatened by several persons. These threats had come through various means, some by phone calls, some by text messages, and these are either multimedia text messages and some WhatsApp messages. So the threats keep coming. I received even additional threat this morning. I won't know who is threatening. I know too well that these persons have telephone numbers and they are real. And so I won't know who threatened, except for the police that will be able to determine the names of these persons who are threatening. And now the threats are normally that of kill, both myself and my family. The threats are like prayers of curses for the entire family. They are mostly doomsday prophecies and prayers from supposed men of God. Some are lay leaders. So there are many.
Was there any form of pressure whatsoever from any direction or any quarters while you were working as collation officer in Rivers State?
No, scopes can never be under pressure. No political party, no persons who understand the functions of scope who want to lure scope into malpractices. And so scopes can never be, because they are only receivers of results. These are results that have been announced by various local government collation officers. They receive these results on national televisions. They see the results at the same time the public does. And so they cannot manipulate figures. Scopes cannot rig elections. They don't have the powers to do that. Scopes cannot cancel results of election. Scopes can only reject results that have computational errors. And that can be seen in case where the total vote cast exceeds total number of accredited voters. That is the only point in which the scope can reject the results. I collated the results on the 26th. I collated 5 local governments, rejected the results of Odwell and Kana local government because there were computational errors in their results. And so on the whole, I was able to collect successfully 3 local governments. On the 27th, I collected 18 local governments in addition to Odwell and Kana, remaining 2 local governments. At the end of my collation on the 21st, I still received threats. And what gave rise to these threats? It's important to address this. What gave rise to this threat? I saw posts on the multimedia. I saw posts on social media. I saw posts on Facebook where it is alleged that I'm responsible for the non-functionalities of the beavers. And I asked the question, what is my role? And so the next day, with all the threats and the misinformation concerning my name, when I got to the center, I demanded an adjourned collation and demanded that INEC must take the lead in addressing the misinformation in the society they should define the roles of the scope as distant and distinct from other collation officers, from the POs to the ward to local government. It was upon INEC being able to address the press to clear this doubt that I continued collating, and I collated the remaining 2 local governments. And thereafter, I announced the results and moved the results to Abuja for presentation. I need to add that responsibilities are non-collective in the conduct of election, especially for ad hoc staff. It means that every ad hoc staff stands liable to acts of misconduct arising from his own results and actions. So scope can never be under any pressure in the course of his duties.
Many would like to know, Prof, is this your first time working for the INEC in whatever capacity, not just as a collation officer?
Well, thank you. I had been involved in various elections across states in Nigeria. I had been collation returning officer for Bayelsa Central, and that was in 2019. In 2019, I was returning collation officer for Nimbi Constituency 2, House of Assembly. In 2019, I was called to rescue the inconclusive election in Rivers State. You recall that the election was inconclusive. The collation officer absconded from duty. I was invited to go and complete the election, and I did complete the election. But I need to add, with the privilege I have to speak today, that scopes cannot rig election. We've had a lot of hues and cries in the society. If election is to be rigged, election can only be rigged at the level of the polling units, at the level of the wards, and the level of local government. Elections can never be manipulated at the level that is played by the scope.
Threat to life could be a bit traumatic. I'm trying to wonder, making a psychological introspection into your mind, what you went through, and perhaps still going through. But in spite of the threats, if called upon again by the electoral umpire body, in whatever capacity, would you be willing to serve again despite threats to your life?
It is a civil duty, and as a public servant, I have a responsibility to perform civil duties. So I will. But more importantly is the misinformation. By the time the society comes to appreciate the roles played by ad hoc staff during election, I'm sure the blackmail we have seen will be put to rest. But one thing that is important, like I said earlier, in academics, community service is key. You need to look at the roles academics play in the society. We play 3 roles. One is to teach. One is to improve on R&D, research and development. The next is for us to be engaged in community service. Participation in election duties is a community service for academics, and it is important for advancement in academics. And so it is important for the society to know this. We are called to serve. We are ready to serve this country. For me, I've served this country in various spheres. I was in the military as a very young man. I joined the military at a tender age. I served for 12 years in this country. And at due time, I voluntarily applied, and I was disengaged. I served in the Nigerian Navy. I still have mates who are still serving today in the military. So we have served, we have paid our dues.
I would like to say thank you, Professor Charles Teddy Adias. It's been a wonderful time talking with you. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. It's a pleasure. Well, we've heard from the man, Professor Charles Teddy Adias, Vice Chancellor, Federal University, Otueke. Well, something I can take away here is he said in spite of the threat to his life, he is still willing to serve this great country, Nigeria, even if called upon by the Independent National Electoral Commission.